Hello, I'm Frances from Homestead, and I'd like to update you on our chickens. You know, we had high hopes of having 25 laying hens. However, the Americanas that we got from Murray McMurray Hatchery back in May turned out that 5 of the 16 were roosters. And they were unsexed, and so we knew that, it was a chance of getting some roosters. Now we also bought the Amberlinks, the white chickens. We bought 10 of them the same day that our Americanas arrived in May from a local farm supply store. And they were supposed to be sexed, and all of them were supposed to be hens. Unfortunately, 4 of them ended up being roosters. So we ended up with 9 roosters altogether. Now, sadly, that meant that we only had the 16, but that was still a good number. We were happy with that. And we figured with the roosters, we were just going to have to cull them. We were thinking maybe after they got to be about 18 weeks, we would start culling them 1 a week. Unfortunately, of course, they're not meat chickens, and so they're rather small. And so we've been giving them more time than the 18 weeks, except for one. One of them was rather obnoxious, and he was causing some trouble. And so we took him out right at 18 weeks. We call him Bluefoot because he has blue feet, and all the other white chickens have yellow. But this is his last day. Goodbye, Bluefoot. But we also felt that we wanted to separate the roosters from the hens for a couple reasons. One was that we wanted to feed the roosters and the hens different feed, because we were feeding the hens layer feed, but the roosters didn't need layer feed. And we wanted to give them a high protein feed so that then they hopefully would have more meat on them. And the other reason was they were pretty rowdy. You know, they were either fighting with each other or fighting with the hens, and the hens were getting real skittish because the roosters were chasing after them so much, so many of them in there. So we went ahead and built a chicken tractor. So we're getting ready to build a chicken tractor. We chose an A-frame because we want to be able to put roosts in it, so we need it to be a little high so we can put some roosts across. And we saw some online. There was one that had a pattern, but it was $30, and I was willing to spend $30 on that. As it was, in the pattern it said it could be up to $350 to $450, and I can't afford to spend that kind of money on a chicken tractor. The materials that we did get are about $100, and that was even more than I wanted to spend, but this is where we are with that. We're setting up shop up here so we don't have to be running up and down from the shop with the equipment, as well as we don't want to have to, if we built it in the shop, then drag it up the slope. So we are going to be working up here on the slope, and we've got all our tools, and we built some sawhorses so that we can have the tables and set up the chop saw and the skill saw. And hopefully we can get it done today. That's our goal, is to finish it today. We'll see how far we get. didn't get the tractor built in one day, as we had hoped. We had some other things that interrupted. So we're back at it, day 2. Hopefully we'll get it finished today, so we can get these roosters. Okay, the battery died at some point, and so we might have missed a little bit of the chicken wire going on the chicken coop. But let me show you what we've done so far at this point. I think we were able to get the roof. I think we've got that on film. And we've got it completely covered in the chicken wire now. So we've got it all completely stapled down, all the edges. We ran a wire thread kind of in this seam through here to get those secured. And then these ones we overlapped and stapled them down here at this point on this part of the frame. And then for the roof section, we are going to enclose it. And so we put up this sheeting there. It's a type of a plywood. And then on the sides, we're going to be running some corrugated fiberglass sheeting. That's the step we're at now. Okay, so we have a beautiful chicken tractor, A-frame style. We've got it all finished. As you can see, we've got a nice little door. We've rigged up a rope for pulling, which I couldn't pull very well. I was dragging a lot of earth with me, but it definitely held together. It's nice and sturdy. So I'm really excited about it. I think it turned out really well for $100 of materials, because we're running out. We've been doing a lot of building with the materials that we found on the property, and so we had to buy some for this, but it really is looking good. I washed up a waterer and a feeding trough, so we'll get those put in. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm very anxious to get the roosters away from the hens. They're chasing them all the time. They're squawking and carrying on. It's quite a mess. So hopefully things will calm down a little bit. And then as it got colder and rainy, we decided to go ahead and cover the whole thing with tarp, which seems to have worked out fine. The roosters, having them all together in a smaller space, they don't always get along. But as we've taken out one every week or so, they've seemed to cooperate with each other a little better. Now, we chose to leave 1 or 2 roosters in with the hens, and one of them was still a bit too rowdy, so we took that one out, put it in the chicken tractor with the roosters. And so now we currently have only 1 rooster with the hens. Now, as far as culling the roosters, I'd watched some Homestead YouTube channels where they were dispatching meat chickens, several at a time. And I kind of liked the process, because when I was a kid, my dad he'd chop off the head of a chicken using a hatchet on a stump, and then throw them out in the orchard and tell me and my younger brother and sister to go keep an eye on them. So we'd be running through the orchard chasing these chickens with their heads cut off until they stopped, because the grass was very tall in our orchard. My dad didn't cut it down, and so it was just very tall, and we didn't want to lose the chickens after they'd gone scurrying with their head cut off into the orchard. I didn't want that kind of experience again. We wanted to do the processing cone, but I didn't want to spend $20, $30 on a cone for one chicken every couple weeks. So fortunately, I found online how to make a processing cone out of a 5-gallon bucket. And that was terrific because I had several 5-gallon buckets. Just need 2 or 3 zip ties to hold it closed once you get it in shape, and I had that too. So it didn't really cost me anything except the price of the bucket months ago. And that was very helpful, and it's worked out really well. But it really was helpful for me to watch how they dispatched all of these meat chickens on YouTube. Even though we were only doing one at a time, it was a nice streamlined process, and it helped us to get through it really quickly and easily, even though none of us really wanted to have to do it. So we got through it, and it's made some great bone broth, as well as some roasted chicken. Now, as you can see, we've had some snow, and it's been freezing temperatures most of this week. So we've had some trouble with our automatic water that we use, and we've had to put out a watering can in the chicken coop so that they could have water because of the pipes freezing. And along with those freezing temperatures, we have a chicken that is wheezing. And I feel really bad for her. And we did some research to try to find out what we could do to help her. And it talked about giving her oregano, some cinnamon. And of course, I've also watched several YouTubes where they've talked about putting apple cider vinegar in the water. And so I do have apple cider vinegar in the water. We added some oregano and cinnamon stick that we broke up. I had oregano growing in the garden. And so we have that in the water also. And I'm hoping that she's going to pull through. I also installed the red heat lamp that we had on the chicks when they were in the brooder. And I put that in the chicken coop in hopes that that would help keep things warm in there. We also added another layer of straw in the coop, and we cleaned out and relined the nesting boxes with pine shavings. But there's just not a lot we can do for her. I don't have antibiotics to give her a shot. I wouldn't even know where to start with that. So I'm just giving it over, doing my best, and I hope she pulls through. I hate to lose any of our chickens, especially this way. We also have finally been getting eggs. It started out with some beautiful dark brown eggs from the white amber lynx. I knew they were going to be brown. I didn't know they were going to be a dark brown, so I'm very excited about that. When I bought the amber lynx, I also splurged on one little baby chick for $14, is an olive egger. And so I was very excited to have at least one green egg in our basket. And of course, then we had the Americanas that lay blue eggs. So I'm pretty excited that we might have all of our colors now in the basket. They're very beautiful. I love all the different colors. That was my goal in buying these chickens, is having these different colored eggs. And I'm very excited that the one $14 baby chick really turned out to be an egg layer instead of a rooster, because it was pretty risky after having so many amber lynx turn out to be roosters. I also spent some time painting the chicken coop. Unfortunately, it got cold before I could finish all the trim, but I at least got it all painted, all 4 sides in a uniform color, so it doesn't look quite so patchwork. And hopefully in the spring, when the weather warms up, I can paint the trim. I at least got the trim around the windows and the door put up so that it's just a rustic look, because most of it is an old wood that I found on the property. So it just looks like a rustic trim around the windows. It's so much better than the patchwork that it was. I'm very happy to have it painted. I also want to give you an update on our field. I finally have all of the sagebrush cleared out. And we had several piles of sagebrush in the field as we were clearing it. And we even were able to get all of those piles cleared out too. So it looks like a beautiful clear field now. The field is clear. No more sagebrush. Very exciting. Oh my gosh. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful that you joined me on this journey. Hopefully all our chickens survive the winter. Until we meet again.